Good evening and welcome. This is Angela Jameson, Chair of New Canaan's Inland Wetlands Commission, calling the Inland Wetlands Commission to order for the regular meeting in Town Hall, Monday, October the 20th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Please would the Secretary take the roll?
Chairman Angela Jameson.
Present.
Sandy Redden, Secretary, here. Beth Brunali, I believe, is absent.
Yep, absent.
Don Mastronardi.
Here.
Beth Sanford.
Here.
Dan Stepanek.
Here.
Phil Williams.
Here.
Katie Owsley.
Here.
Adam Ramirez.
Present.
Very good. Thank you. So, Ms. Owsley, please would you be seated for Ms. Brunali this evening? Yeah. Thank you very much. And since our last meeting, Priscilla Woike, who's been a longstanding member of this commission, has resigned, and we wish her well in her retirement from Inland Wetlands. And I'm sure we're going to be keeping in touch with her. And welcome to Mr. Mastronardi, who is now a regular member rather than an alternate. Okay, moving on. You have an agenda in front of you. Any comments? If not, could I hear a motion to approve, please?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of September 15th, 2025, and the site visit of October 15th, 2025.
Actually, we just do the agenda right now.
Sorry. Okay.
I'll second the agenda.
Thank you. All those in favor, please raise your hands and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. So that was unanimous. Very good. So now let's move on to the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting, September the 15th, 2025. Anybody have any comments, questions about the minutes, draft minutes? If not, please could I hear a motion to approve?
I see a motion to approve.
So you move approval.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Stepanek.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Redden. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Aye. That is passed. Now the minutes of the site visit of October 15th, 2025. Anybody got any questions, comments? If not, please may I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Redden. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Aye. So that is approved. Great. Moving on to item 5, applications to be received and if complete, to be scheduled for the November 17th, 2025 regular meeting. First one is application IW-25-43, 1541 Onoke Ridge, Anna Knowles Rogers and Colin Smith. Partial pond maintenance dredging using hydraulic operated machine to remove accumulated sediment. And then the second application that we have received is IW-25-44, 52 Indian Rock Road, Robert A. Young, partial pond maintenance dredging using hydraulic operated machine to remove accumulated sediment. And then finally, the third application we have received, IW-25-45, 223 Michigan Road, Pelagic One LLC, install additional erosion controls, remove fill from wetlands and within 10 feet of wetland line, then regrade at 3:1 slope to current elevation, install subsurface stormwater detention facility and associated piping, replace existing pipes as needed, revegetate wetlands and upland review limit per planting plan, install irrigation lines and place topsoil outside of 50-foot upland review limit. Sod all disturbed areas outside of upland review limit, remove erosion controls. So let's move on and schedule a site visit, if we can, please, for these 3 sites. So realistically, we're going to need, I'd say, an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I think, Ms. Holland, we were looking at a couple of Wednesdays. Is that correct?
Correct. I was initially looking at as early as October 29th, Wednesday, October 29th, and or Wednesday, November 5th. So I wasn't sure what was the preferred date with folks, so I thought I'd throw both dates out and see where we have a quorum.
So please raise your hand if you can make the 29th. I would suggest starting at 7:30 because some people have to get to regularly scheduled work. So the 29th. Okay, let's just do the 29th. So that's Mr. Mastronardi, Mr. Williams. Okay, Mrs.
cannot.
No,
I
Ms. Sam-
cannot do it.
Okay, I can do it. So that's 3 of us. Ms. Owsley can, 4, Mr. Ramirez?
No.
No,
What
okay.
about the 5th?
Okay, let's move on to the 5th. Please raise your hand if you can make that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So does 7:30 suit everyone as a time, or you want to suggest a different time?
6:30?
Thank you, Mr. Redden.
I think with 3 site visits, we should start at 7:30.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Please.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Terrific. And if you could please, Ms. Holland, send out a calendar invitation to everybody, that would be terrific. Okay, so with that, I am opening the regular meeting. Application IW-25-41, 70 Hillcrest Road, Jeffrey A. and Shelley F. Eccleston trustee. Replace existing 12-inch CMP driveway, culvert, replace footing drain and leader pipes, perform related landscaping work, and the agent is Mr. Simpson. So thank you very much for attending this evening, and we look forward to hearing your presentation.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you very much for having us this evening. And I'm here with Bill Pollock, from my associate. And as you said, this property is at 70 Hillcrest Road. The real driving force behind our application is drainage. The house is 60 years old, and I think that the drainage around the house and underneath the driveway, which was built at that time, are all 60 years old. So the drainage on the west side of the house is clogged up, basically, and that's the drainage which would divert water around the house in the event of water coming down the steep slope towards the house. So that is one part of our application, is to replace that drainage along the back there, and then get that water piped underground all the way down to the stream channel, back from the stream channel, but down into the area closer to the stream channel, which is north of the driveway. And I think you can probably see on the plan there, there's a light yellow strip through the paralleling the road, which is where the wetlands were, and those were designated some time ago. So we would like to discharge that pipe in a responsible way with stone and so on, so that there isn't any long-term erosion. And then we also want to pick up the downspouts all on the front of the house as well, and direct all of those out into that stream channel. That's one big component of it. A major driver of the need for that, in our mind, is there's a plan which we could show you now, which I think when at the site visit, we talked about upslope from the house, west of it. There's a 2.5 acre lake up there, and it's big body of water. And we do know that in major storms, the water flows from that pond actually from the north end of it and the south end of it around this house, basically. So we're really conscious of the fact that That's something which could happen again if there isn't sufficient maintenance of the outflows from that pond. So we want to be protecting the house from that in that event. Then the other part of the application relates to the drainage which currently goes underneath the driveway, and we have a pipe going up under there at the moment. It's a 12-inch pipe.
It's a 12-inch corrugated metal pipe.
Corrugated metal pipe, and I think that it's been clogging up. And if it's an old corrugated metal pipe that's 60 years old, it's probably rusted out and collapsed in certain areas, and so it's very difficult to get at. So when any leaves or any debris or any stones or whatever get washed down into the pipe underneath the driveway, the owners really found it very difficult to maintain it. So it's not a minor undertaking, but we would like to remove the portion of the driveway over the pipe and get right down to that level, which is probably a good 6 feet down from the level of the driveway, and replace that pipe with a new plastic pipe, which will have a smooth bore inside, so it'll be much easier to maintain. And then actually stabilize each end of the pipe, the inflow and the outflow, with some boulders, and do it in a way which we've done many, many times before, but it would be much more accessible, to make the pipe more accessible, easier to maintain, and it will also not have any erosion. In terms of erosion, we do have erosion control shown on the plan. So while we're doing this, any areas which are disturbed at all will be protected and isolated with the erosion controls. So Bill usually has something that I haven't thought of. So I'll ask if you want to add anything to that.
I'll just go through a couple pictures just so everyone can see. If you didn't make a site visit, this is the driveway crossing that has the existing culvert down below. So to the left and to the right is that wetland channel. And it's, again, like he said, it's about 6 feet down. And the house is straight ahead there in that image. This is what the pipe looks like today. And this is the downstream side, the outflow side, but you can see the really heavy erosion from the driveway at the top of the picture down to where the pipe is down at the bottom. So we would stabilize that slope with some boulders and plantings to make sure that it won't erode going forward. And then this is just a picture of the back of the house, which shows how the topography slopes down towards the back.
I don't think you're,
Didn't-
yeah, so
it
we just
didn't
see the
advance.
driveway.
It's not advancing.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
No,
Delay.
That's the
There's a
pipe you're
delay.
that's the pipe.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should touch the arrow again, but there you can see the erosion on the slope above the pipe there. So we'd like to stabilize that with some boulders with a new pipe. And it may or may not click to the next slide here, but just to add, we also will add some native plantings in the areas in the wetlands by that
Oh, right.
pipe, and then at the outflow of the new we're collecting the drainage around the back of the house, where that outflows just short of the wetlands, but we will plant that edge as well. Here's the picture that came up. This is the back of the house that shows the slope. And the lake that Keith was talking about is a few hundred yards actually further up the slope actually from the house. Is there any questions we're happy to answer?
Mr. Redden?
Commissioner Redden, for the record, thank you. I think the site visit was very helpful. So Mr. Simpson, I think you said you guys are installing a pipe of the same size of the existing, of the old pipe? Is that right?
Right, correct, right.
Just, I'm wondering why maybe you wouldn't put a larger diameter pipe in just so it doesn't get clogged. Just having been on site and looking at both sides, but that makes sense. That's the first question. Then the second question is, looking at that area, there's probably a number of driveways that have the same issue. So I think once you clean out this area, downstream might have similar issues. I don't know if that's been considered.
Oh, yes, well, thanks for the question. Well, the answer to question one is that we feel there's a certain inherent responsibility to replace the pipe with the same pipe. As much as it might feel more comfortable to to enlarge the pipe and pass water on down more quickly, we don't want that to adversely affect anybody downstream. So there's a certain amount of retention that occurs with any pipe of any size. And so if there's a point at which the 12-inch pipe is full, then there would be some backup in the wetlands, which is appropriate. So we just felt it's so thoroughly defendable to just replace the existing pipe, make it work better than the previous one, or than the existing one rather. And yes, indeed, I mean, downstream, there could well be other, culverts underneath driveways. But we feel we're trying to do the responsible thing by not increasing any flows going downstream.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Other questions?
Yeah,
Mr. Stepanek?
yeah,
Yes, this is Dan Stepanek. I want to follow up on what Sandy said about downstream. If you clean this thing up, it seems to me the water's going to just travel through there a lot quicker, a lot faster. And if they don't have it cleaned up downstream, it's going to hold up things, the debris. Have you checked the culvert downstream? Are the culverts, is the whole culvert a mess like this particular application?
Well, I think there's a whole variety of driveway crossings downstream. I noticed one's a little bridge. So I don't know, and I don't really have the right of access to properties downstream to check everybody's culvert down there. So I just feel that probably when this pipe first went in, it worked better than it does now. It still works, there's no question about it. But it has gotten clogged up in the past, and the owner's gone down there and tried to maintain it. And we don't put in corrugated metal pipes anymore. So I think downstream, I don't see it being creating a major flooding issue downstream more than there is now when there's a major storm. But I think the pipe should work better now and not need maintenance to the same extent. But I don't see it really adversely affecting the downstream flows as a result of this new pipe going in.
Has the household downstream, the one that's next going south,
Right.
have they been notified that you're doing this? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And they didn't have a problem with it?
The requirement for notification was satisfied by the applicant. And just 2 points on this. For drainage purposes, we do not upsize or change a pipe because that's when you might have additional flows or a faster moving of the water course down through this area. So they are correct in replace the pipe that's damaged, not working properly, put in the new 12-inch pipe, same elevation with a little more shoulder on each side of
Right.
it. So at some point, it will be a clean pipe as it was before. So the same amount of water is going to run through there. It will just reach its equilibrium at some point once post-construction work is done. So I do not see any concerns with passing water faster or causing more water to go to a downstream neighbor. Each one of these culverts are privately owned by the property owners. So everyone maintains their culverts sort of at their own
As best they
rate.
can.
Yeah, the best they can. have not had any other complaints or concerns in this area. I've sensed in my time with the town that the other culverts are a little bit newer and have already been replaced over time. So this one is one that has not been done.
Yeah,
to the best of
60
my
years
knowledge.
is quite a long stretch.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Angela Jameson, for the record. I have a few questions. Firstly, what kind of machinery will you be using? And secondly, what will happen to any debris that you clear out of the stream and the culvert? Where will it go?
Where will the material go that we're
And
taking out of the stream?
but first question is, what machinery will you be using?
What kind of material?
What machinery? Yeah,
Oh, machine, oh.
We'll definitely be using an excavator
Mhm.
to excavate under the driveway itself, that pipe that's there. So it'll be an open trench for a short period of time. It's a plastic pipe. It's not that long. Obviously, it'll go in pretty quickly. And then shortly thereafter, they'll start stabilizing it with the boulders, certainly with the machine to set those boulders.
Mhm.
It'll be a limited impact to the actual wetlands because it's really right on the edges. The machine doesn't have to go down there. It can stay at the higher elevation, easily reach down to set these boulders. So it really should be just a temporary, relatively minor impact to the wetlands.
Thank you. Then my next question is, the project narrative talks about extending the shoulder of the driveway by more or less 2 feet on either side.
Right.
Is any of that extension going to occur in the wetlands?
Well, it's actually, it's above the wetland. The wetland lines sort of wrap around
Yeah.
on either side of the driveway. But the driveway at the moment does feel just at a minimal size. And the shoulders are actually part of what have been eroding down sort of into the wetland, both sides. So we feel that if we could get a couple of feet on either side, we've got a more solid shoulder, we can build the boulders up from there. We feel it'll be a much more maintenance-free solution when we really get it a little wider and a little more solidly built. And as Bill said, we can reach this from above. We'll have a machine with a long arm, you know, get down in there and so on. So it really should be very, very local to the culvert itself, actually.
Right. So the
activity.
bridge that crosses the culvert,
Right.
that is not going to be extended in width.
Well, the crossing, the
Crossing.
pavement will be the same, but we're getting a little more shoulder on either side so that we don't have this unraveling basically of the driveway on either side. And then would be back in here and I don't know how many years, but anyway, but it's just not good to have a condition which is erodible in our view, you know, into the wetlands.
Okay, thank you. And then my last question is in relation to the Fieldstone energy dissipator pad that you're proposing to put right on the edge of the wetlands. What impact will that have on the wetlands?
What impact will it have?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like a level lip spreader, you know, it's where we have a pipe that's discharging and then we set some stones in front of it. So the purpose is to reduce the velocity of water coming down through a pipe. And as the water coming through the pipe, quite a lot of it is actually seeping out of the hillside. It's not coming off a big paved area, so we don't anticipate it will have high velocity. But when you get to the end of the pipe, if you put in the boulders and so on, then you take the head of force out of it, and then it gets filtered into the wetlands as opposed to discharge into the wetlands and risking creating some erosion. Unless you've got anything to add to that.
No, and along with some plantings as well to help slow it down and stabilize that piece
Right.
there.
So it is right at the edge of the wetlands by design.
Right.
And and it will be more effective than if you had it back a certain number of feet from the wetlands line.
Yeah, I think it's I think it'll do its job. So we need to get it down at that level so that we get pitch coming all the way along. It's quite a distance.
Yeah.
So we got to go down low, and the only way to get down low is actually near to the wetland. So we're trying to strike a balance so that we do have positive pitch on the whole pipe system. We can't have it be level at any particular point.
Thank you. Oh, Miss Owsley?
I just wanted to follow up on Angela's earlier question about where you'd be taking anything that's any fill that's excavated, because I think that we noted there were a fair number of invasives in there when we did the site visit.
Yeah, all the debris will be taken off site. Certainly any of the invasive vegetation that is pulled out, we'll take it off. Usually that'll go in a container. Basically, it just goes to a landfill, essentially. And there shouldn't be a lot of actually fill material, like earth material. So if there is, that would come off site too. We wouldn't have any place to put it, but it would be pretty minor amount of soil that would actually come out.
Yeah, we may actually need to bring some additional material in. If we're going to widen the driveway slightly out, then we would actually bring in material, we compact it, and any vegetation that we're cutting down or anything like that would be chipped up and removed. No, the chips don't go in the wetlands. The chips go in a truck. Definitely.
Good. Any additional questions? Miss Holland?
Kathleen Holland for the record. Just if you could do a little deeper dive into soil and erosion controls during construction. Just maybe zoom in on that plan if you can, so I can see where things are going to be placed and how there will be no erosion during construction heading downstream.
Yep. Prior to any excavation or disturbance to the driveway and the pipe area there, they will put in a silt fence that's kind of going to start at that upper elevation and kind of go down the slope and across the wetland. And then we're going to add some hay bale protection within that wetland channel, so to speak, on the downstream side there to really protect, especially if there happens to be a storm or something in the middle of construction. So water would still flow through the wetland system. It would go through the hay bales, through the silt fence, and therefore any water that goes through it should be pretty filtered by the time it gets back into the wetland system. On the north side is a little less concern because everything is heading south. So we will have some silt fence just to protect from the wetland, or protect the wetland that is not going to be disturbed, or the edge there that's not going to be disturbed by putting in that new culvert.
Yeah, I think the most important erosion sort of component is when we're about to dig the trench and run the pipe all the way back up. That's when there's the exposure. So any water which gets into the trench is going to want to head downstream. So that's at the end of that trench, before we dig it, we put in the erosion controls. That's a crucial erosion control.
Type of excavation at this location, I don't know if a pump around would work, but if you get a contractor that thought that actually dewatering on the inlet and pumping over so you can work in the dry, would that be something that you guys would see as a good solution to keeping, pumping clean water around as opposed to letting it pass?
That certainly could be, if necessary. At the moment, we were actually there earlier. It's like practically bone dry.
Okay.
There's no standing water. There's no flowing. There's no flowing water. There's really, we all know it's a wetland, but it doesn't feel like it at the moment.
Okay.
So there wouldn't be any pumping going on at the moment.
Right.
So if we happen to get in there and have a good stretch, and it won't, like we said, shouldn't take very long. So if we get a good stretch of good weather, hopefully there's not even any water to think about.
Okay.
While we're in
And then what was your timing for this type of project?
Ready to go.
Yeah, we'd get started as soon as permitted.
Yeah, and I think it could be quite quick construction. So, I mean, if the if there were any heavy rains and so on, we just hold off. But the people who we haven't lined up to do it have very extensive equipment and are really and have large crews of people to get in there and do. I think the whole thing will happen really quickly, especially if we have some good weather.
And do you envision being able to blacktop this before asphalt?
Yeah, that's our goal.
So it's
definitely.
a complete all the way through.
Yeah,
Good.
we'd like to.
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
the driveway is old. I don't know how old that is, but anyway, it's in really poor shape. And they, as you know, they've been doing work on the house. So we would like to finish up the whole area in front of the garage, a lot of which is just outside the old regulated area, but basically get the whole thing paved up before, asphalt plants tend to close early December or mid-December, depending upon the weather.
Yeah, this is Dan Stepanek again. Is there any stream or water that comes from the lake that goes into that stream?
It's
Except for the overflow during,
not other than the overflow. No, I think the regular flow is south of the house.
yeah,
The regular outflow. But I think that if there is a sudden rise in the level of that lake, then I think there is an overflow which goes north of this house and flows into this stream and goes underneath this driveway. I've never seen that happen, and I don't know that the owners they haven't told me that exactly happened, but I've heard that it has happened. Yeah, so it's a concern to find yourself surrounded by heavy flows like that. I think
so where does water come from then?
it comes from that lake up above, and that's 2.5 acre lake.
Well, if it doesn't come from the lake, where does it come from? The water in the culvert? Up the hill? Up,
Yeah,
from north to south?
Upslope.
In the wetland channel there.
Does it flow off the road?
It doesn't seem to. I imagine some of the road goes in there, but it seems to curve away from the road. It's not a very big watershed. It's really not. I mean, the stream channel on the upstream side of this culvert is really hard to sort of discern. Actually, it isn't as though it looks like a stream that runs heavily regularly. It looks like a wetland area which sort of seeps underneath the driveway. We don't expect to find this pipe running at full speed at all, unless there was some major flow coming off that lake above, really. But under normal conditions, I think it's a really modest flow going through there.
I think this particular stream is topographic placement in the bottom of a gully, and just a small-ish watershed coming into it from a wetlands flowing down through this area. If you move up through that neighborhood, there's a big wetlands further north of here and north. And so it reacts to storms, this little stream channel. So that's when you get your flows, but it's not like a constant flow by any means.
Not a heavy flow stream.
Yeah, that's Sanford for the record. So if you do the work this fall, or I mean, you're ready to get going,
Right.
will you be able to do the planting too for the native plants that you have?
Yeah, if the plants are available, we would. If not, we would get them in the spring. But I think we can, as we've hoped that we'll be able to get an approval, and we're in touch with the people who are going to do the work. So I think at this time of the year, they can scout out and find the plants and set them aside for us. And we get those in this fall too.
And have you created a plan for what you're going to plant? And
Yeah, we do. We've gone over it with them. I mean, we've actually met with the
materials or-
contractor this morning in the hope that, we can get a go ahead tonight. So they know what we want to do. They went over it very thoroughly. They're among the most responsible contractors that we have ever worked with, quite frankly.
Mr. Simpson, Mr. Pollak, maybe you could just zoom in on that portion of the slide that shows the plantings. It's a little hard to
Is it showing up?
read from here.
what's the name of that document?
This is L.101.
I think this is site plan, but it's up on here, and he's
It's
going to
the
zoom
site.
in
Okay.
so that we can see.
not the site.
Okay.
I don't know how quickly it's reacting.
Well,
when I-
those are
when I
obviously
zoom in.
non-invasive wetland plants that we know.
Yeah.
We like planting plants that we've had a record of success with and not, we don't experiment a lot when we're trying to do wetland mitigation plant work.
Yeah, we have clethra, winterberry, and inkberry shrubs. Is all part of the stabilization. I don't know if it's clear on the photo, on the image, but if you can see my cursor above the driveway culvert, and then there's the boulders on either end, and then we have plantings on either with the boulders, and then we have plantings along with the outlet of the pipe outlet.
And in addition to those actual plantings listed, any area which has received any disturbance gets seeded and stabilized and all the rest of it. And this is also a good time for that kind of activity as well. So
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Questions? Miss Holland, do you have any special conditions you'd like to suggest?
Thank you for your presentation and great questions from the commission members. The only thing that I typically like to see on this, because I'm not a plant expert, but I had suggested the landscape architect shall provide a final compliance report on completion of the landscaping activities, which is pretty standard operating procedure for these types of applications. And I know these guys tend to stay involved through the project from beginning to end. So I think that's not a big ask and
No,
is important to have in the
the
record.
client wants to do that.
Very good. Any other special conditions anyone wants to suggest? If not, could I hear a motion?
I'll make a
Please.
motion to approve application IW 25-41, 70 Hillcrest Road with Director Holland's special condition of after.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. All those in favor, please raise your hand. I'm sorry. Oh, it was Don. I'm so, Mr. Mastronardi, beg your pardon. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So that's passed unanimously. And thank you very much indeed for a
We thank
very
you very much.
informative presentation.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Thank you. Very good. So let's now move on to the agent's report. Ms. Holland.
What was this? Okay, so let's see, a project at 772 North Wilton Road, a reconfiguration of some landscaping and retaining walls at this location was approved by my department probably in August at this point, and we had reviews by health and planning and zoning, and the activities are the permit was issued and they're moving along quickly. So it's good.
Good. And then Ms. Holland has distributed a schedule of meetings for 2026. If you could put those in your calendar, and I believe that she will send us calendar invitations for all of
Oh,
those
Okay.
meetings.
Can we do
I-
that?
Hmm?
That's what we usually
Can
do?
you do that?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
I
I'll
think
have
I
Lola
think
do
it's
that.
Hmm?
I'll Lola do that.
Yeah. Okay, Miss Sweeney.
Yeah.
That would be great. Then they're in there.
Yep.
And then finally, I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes talking about the training session that we had last September. I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, including whether there are any points that came out of Attorney Gelderman's presentation that you found particularly significant.
I think he was good at reminding us, and we should remind ourselves that in the last site visit, it's a good example that we're on site visits. We should remain a tight, cohesive group and actually not socialize, not speak, and not ask any questions outside of a commission meeting, which is recorded. So I think all of us do it. We ask questions and And I think he reinforced, and we've heard it before, and I need to pay more attention to it. And I think we should all really just stay quiet and wait till we're back in our cars to chat. But we shouldn't disperse in different groups looking at things, and we shouldn't be asking an applicant or any of their agents questions unless it's in a public meeting. I thought that was really good. He pointed that
Yeah.
out, and we should have reinforced that ourselves, but
Well, I think in the moment when you're looking at something interesting, you know, you have questions and you want to know the answer. And we chat a bit because we all like each other and get on well. So that's good news too. But it is an official meeting of the Inland Wetland Commission. It has to be noticed, and it isn't recorded because that would be difficult to do. So that's really the reason why we shouldn't ask questions except in relation to orientation. Is that a wetlands flag over there, to name the most basic? And we should try and stick together in one group. And, you know, if ever a decision went to litigation, having followed the protocol for a site visit would be important. Well, that was the one I was going to mention too. Has anybody else got? Yeah, Miss Holland.
Just some additional comments on that. So it doesn't mean that you can't ask a question. For those of you who are somewhat new, I'm your resource. So you can always try to remember that question. You can reach out to me anytime. Don't even wait to the meeting. If you have something that you're not sure about or you don't quite understand, pick up the phone, send me an email. I'm happy to get you the factual response to whatever that question might be. Either if I don't have it myself, I'll reach out to the applicant and make sure you get that answer before, you know, hearing the actual application or letting it, and you can always ask that question at the meeting too, on the record as part of the presentation. And sometimes the questions you have come out in the presentation and you go, oh, okay, I was going to ask that question. It's done, you know, by the applicant. So there is time, even post the site visit, for additional questions to come up and be asked on the record. So I think we do a good job with the site visits. It's a little bit like herding cats sometimes. No offense to anyone here, but you know, we are a friendly group. So you might be having a conversation, but the perception might be you're having a conversation about the applicant. You're not. You're having a conversation probably about the grocery store or something. But so we sometimes will have applicants join us on the site visits or attorneys join us on the site visits. So on the bottom of the site visit agenda, I have little like kind of reminders. This is how to conduct yourself at a site visit. So just maybe review that. But I think we do a very good job. You know, so I appreciate everyone turning out for the site visits. I think that is a kind of a pretty important part sometimes when you're making a decision, is to be able to see the site, because it comes together as a full picture when you rather than looking at it on a piece of paper.
And I would just add to that, if you're not able to make the official site visit, you can always go and have a look at the site on your own. I mean, if you're going to do that, just let Ms. Holland know ahead of time so she can notify the homeowner. And I did that all the time when I was still working, because I couldn't get into Manhattan or to my desk, you know, when the trading day was kind of already open. So it's understandable that people can't always take time out of their work day to get to the site visit, but you can always follow up on your own. Anything else come out of the training? Anybody wants to comment on?
I would just say anyone who did miss the training, all of our meetings are recorded. So it is on the Town of New Canaan website, and just go back to, I think it was the September date. And it was an hour-long training. And I think Attorney Gelderman did a very fine job kind of hitting some things. There was something I learned even. So, you know, there's always something that comes up.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I thought he was he was so fluid and he was so articulate, and he covered so much ground in that time that I think it's something that should be more regular, particularly, you know, for those that are relatively new, just to hear the whole thinking behind the process and how you
Yeah.
So I was really very intrigued by his presentation. I thought it was excellent.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And certainly we could encourage new members to take a look at that recording
Yeah.
as part of their overall training. How often would you like to do training like that, Miss Sanford?
A couple, maybe once or
How
twice
often
a
would you
year, I
like
would
to
say.
do it, or how often do you think we should do it?
Yeah. Maybe it might have value once or twice a year, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, we don't want to be.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. And then I would just add to that, that the Connecticut Deep does have some excellent online training for Inland Wetland Commission members. I would encourage everybody to take it. You learn a lot. You learn a lot from it, even if you've been around on the commission a long time. And at the end of it, you get a certificate. And please, if you do it, let Miss Holland know when you've completed it. And some attorneys for applicants actually ask how many commission members have taken that training. So it is of interest.
Before they present to you.
Oh,
'cause
before they
want to know who they're speaking
Yeah.
to, how deep they need to go in their
Yes.
presentation or not.
And in past years, there has been discussion in the Connecticut legislature of making continuing education / training for Inland Wetland Commission members mandatory. It hasn't gone anywhere, so I think it'd be nice if it weren't necessary to be mandatory because everybody was doing it.
I'm going to say, I'm a relatively new commissioner, and I was able to take that, online when I was in the Caribbean on vacation. And you can sit there and it's actually fascinating stuff. I learned a little bit of that stuff years and years ago in the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts, but right. But learning it actually officially, it's actually enjoyable. It's really well done, that stuff, the online training, and you can stop it and start it. So I cranked the whole thing out, in short order. And I think everyone should do it because I now know what someone like Keith Simpson is talking about. So helpful.
Yeah. Miss Owsley, anything you'd like to add? Because you went through that training and I think did it pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Could you put your mic on? Thanks.
I'm not sure I found it as fascinating as Sandy found it, but it was informative and helpful. I'm definitely glad I did it, and it was not onerous to do.
No.
So
Well,
There's
perhaps
no-
you weren't bored in the Caribbean,
And they're not graded, by the way. No grade.
Do we have the links to those trainings?
I can send them again if that's helpful.
Yeah. That'd be great.
I think I found it, but I want to make sure it's the right thing.
Yeah, it's right on
Yeah.
DEP's website, but it's easier if I send it to you, honestly, than you fishing for it.
Okay, anything else anybody wants to raise? If not, could I hear a motion to adjourn, please? Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. That's approved. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.